Hello, welcome to day 10 of the 12 Days of Christmas Alexander Technique Explorations. I'm Amy Mushall with Your Instrumental Body. At Your Instrumental Body, we help people rediscover the joy of movement and expression by unlocking efficiency and vitality, not just in singing, but in everyday life. Through the Alexander Technique, we empower you to release unnecessary tension, cultivate mindful awareness, and find balance in how you move, breathe, and create. Today's exploration is about lightening your load. Whether you're carrying grocery bags, gifts, or just the weight of holiday stress, how you carry yourself makes all the difference. By bringing awareness to your body, you can find a sense of ease. And even when life feels heavy, it can lighten your load. So today, I'd like to invite you to find something that you might need to carry. Today, I am going to be using a speaker to lift, just as though I was going to lift a nice heavy package that maybe has just arrived at the front door from your favorite delivery person. And perhaps you need to lift that and you want to work on how can I do that with a little bit more ease and efficiency. So find something in your environment that you can use. You can also, of course, pause this. And let's just take a moment before you pick it up to pause and notice the item. I'm actually going to move this back just a little bit so that you can observe me in this movement. So as I look down at the object, I'm just going to first notice how I want to move. I can already feel my hands lighting up as my nervous system is getting ready to jump into action. It's telling certain parts of my body to go. And as I notice that, I'm just going to invite myself to pause and to rest. And as I pause, I'm really noticing my feet on the ground, my weight going through my feet to the ground. And I'm noticing how my head can gently float up and away from the ground, creating a little length without pulling, but just resting into the ground and finding a float up. In some ways, it's like a hot air balloon that is tethered to the ground, and yet we've pumped up the hot air so that the balloon is lifting and expansive. What do you notice in you as you explore this idea of resting in the ground while finding an expansive height and a lightening up? So now, as I contemplate my item, I'm going to think about some choices that I have to pick up the item. Before we do too much though, let's not think too much about this. Just pick up the item that you have however you would normally do that. And let's put it back down. Now, how much awareness did you have of yourself as you did that movement? I'd invite you to do it again. And this time, let's take our time. Let's be a little bit more mindful about how we do it. So for instance, right now I'm noticing that my angle to this object causes me to have to rotate. And so instead of having to kind of rotate while I'm in the movement, I'm going to choose to shift my feet so that I can be a little bit more straight on with the object. By doing this, although I can rotate my spine, by rotating and bending and lifting, it's putting a pretty big load on my spine. And to be honest, this is how sometimes we can find ourselves having a little tweak in our back and a little injury, is because we overload the spine by using ourselves while we're in rotation. So I'm going to eliminate that by creating a little bit more of a square, straight on approach. Now, a couple of other options are coming to me. One option is to simply hinge with my knees locked to bend to get the item. But I'm finding there's no way I'm going to reach down far enough if I'm locking my knees. And in fact, by doing that, I'm going to really have to lift with my back. So instead of lifting with my back, which we've all been told is not useful, you might get an injury. So we're not going to do that. So how do we get down to the item without using our back as the primary source of lifting? That means that we have to somehow use our legs to fold in order to get to a lower plane to be able to reach the item. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fold at our hip joints, our knees, and our ankles. And we're going to do a little squat, or if you like yoga, this is a little bit like a chair pose, where our tail is going to go back while our knees go forward, and our ankles will naturally be behind our knees. So let's try this on. So we're going to first start by hinging with our tail going back and our knees slightly folding. And let's come back up. And let's do that a couple more times. So our hip joints are going to fold and our tail is going to go back. Notice this brings my torso closer to the object. We're going to do that again. Our tail goes back, our knees go forward, and we have a slight kind of bounce there in our ankles. Give that a try and see what you notice. Now, as we fold a little bit further, you can see my arms kind of want to reach for it, and it makes me want to arch my back. And by arching my back, that means I'm going to have to use my back for the lifting. And this is the thing that we want to prevent. We want to keep our tail and our head in this moving away from each other configuration, where our head is moving forward and up while our tail moves back and down. And in doing so, you can see I've stayed pretty well in my configuration with my head moving away from my tail. again, this is chair pose, right? So if we do chair pose, we bring our arms up and we go into that squat. You see how we get to use our mechanical advantage to be able to receive that. As we're doing this, let's pause for a moment, reestablish our feet on the ground. Notice if your hip joints release, if your knees release, if your head can feel just a little bit lighter, so that we can fold and our hands are going to connect to the item. So we're folding all the way till we connect with the item. Now that's a pretty big reach for me, which probably means it's a little too far forward. So I'm going to move closer to the item. By moving closer to the item, I don't have to reach as far, and then I won't have to put as much effort into my body. I'm going to connect to the ground again. I'm going to fold at my hip joints, allowing the rest of me to fold, and I'm going to grab the item. And when I grab the item, I'm going to really put weight down into my heels, into the ground, so that when I come up by going down with my feet. By grounding into the ground, it brings my torso up. Just watch me for a moment as I do this. So I'm going to fold at my hip joints, my knees, and my ankles, coming down to receive the item. And here, I'm going to start grounding myself so that I can pick up the item without having to effort in any way. You might have noticed that my voice didn't make much of a shift. It stayed pretty much the same the whole time. And that's because I was really using the ground to provide oomph. And now, as I bring this back down, I'm already noticing the ground supporting me. I'm going to allow my tail to move back so that I can squat to bring the item down. And then still, I use my feet going down to bring me up. Let's try that together. So we're going to notice the ground under our feet. We notice our head moving up away from the ground, allowing our neck to be free so that our hip joints can softly roll back, bringing us into a squat to connect with the item. And you can go deeper as I am. And then we're going to press down with our feet to burst up from the ground. And as you walk with the item, what is it like to allow the weight of you to fall into the ground? Not struggling to hold anything, but really using your whole body, your whole spine, the whole length of your spine to hold your item, and your feet giving the rest of the weight to the earth. Let us go ahead and let's allow our hip joints to roll so that our tail can go back. Our head goes forward away from our tail, and we fold to bring the item down, and we unfold. How does this bring ease into carrying? How does this affect the amount of effort that is required? Can you let go of tension and squeezing and compressing so that you can really receive the ground? I'd invite you to continue to explore this. I'd love to get your feedback and have you drop a note in the comments. And if you liked this or found it useful and helpful, please be sure to like this video and share it with a friend. I'm Amy Mushall with Your Instrumental Body, And I'll be back tomorrow for day 11 of our 12 days of Christmas Alexander Technique explorations. Thanks so much. Have a great day.